Mind to Mind, Exploring the Reality of Telepathy. Chapter 1, What is Telepathy? Welcome back to another episode of Spirita Vivo, your all-access pass to the mysteries of the mind, the cosmos, and everything in between. I'm Norman, and today, Vanessa and I are taking you on a wild ride through the world of telepathy and thought exchange. That's right, folks. Today we're diving into the idea that you might just be able to send a message without lifting a finger, or better yet, without even saying a word. So buckle up, because this is going to be one brain-bending episode.
Exactly. And let's be honest, we've all had those moments, right? You're thinking about a friend you haven't talked to in ages, and boom, your phone rings, and it's them on the line. Or how about when you just know what your partner is going to say before they even open their mouth? It's like, are we just super intuitive, or is something else going on here? Maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of telepathy at play.
Yeah, and it's not just us regular folks who find this fascinating. We're going to explore the views of Dr. Joseph Murphy, a prominent figure in the New Thought movement, who believed that telepathy could be more than just a mystical idea. Dr. Murphy, who lived from 1898 to 1981, argued that telepathy might be a natural extension of the mind's power, something that we're only beginning to understand.
Right. Dr. Joseph Murphy's teachings often revolved around the incredible potential of the human mind. He believed that our thoughts have power, real, tangible power, and that telepathy could be one of the ways this power manifests. Even though he's no longer with us, his ideas continue to inspire and challenge our understanding of what's possible.
And then, of course, we have the famous Duke University experiments by J.B. Rhine. Imagine this, sitting across from someone, trying to guess the symbol on a hidden card just by thinking about it. No peeking allowed. It might sound like a party trick, but Rhine's work really laid the groundwork for the scientific study of telepathy. Whether you think it's legit or just a bunch of hocus pocus, you've got to admit, it's intriguing.
So, if you've ever wondered whether you're secretly a mind reader or just really good at guessing, this episode is totally for you. We're going to break down the science, the skepticism, and the seriously strange stories that might just make you question how connected we all really are.
Stick around, because by the end of this episode, you might just be questioning whether your thoughts are as private as you think they are, or if someone else is tuned into your mental frequency. Chapter 2. Science versus Spirituality.
So, let's dive a little deeper. We've all seen telepathy portrayed in movies, people reading minds, sending thoughts across the room. You know the drill. But how much of that is actually based in reality? Is there any science behind it, or are we just playing make-believe?
Great question, Vanessa. And here's where things get really interesting. On the one hand, you have the scientific community. Skeptical, data-driven, and not exactly quick to embrace the idea of mind-to-mind communication. Most scientists would tell you that telepathy is nothing more than coincidence, or maybe just the result of a strong intuition.
Right. Dr. Joseph Murphy's teachings often revolved around the incredible potential of the human mind. He believed that our thoughts have power, real, tangible power, and that telepathy could be one of the ways this power manifests. Even though he's no longer with us, his ideas continue to inspire and challenge our understanding of what's possible.
Exactly. Dr. Joseph Murphy emphasized that our minds hold vast, untapped potential. He believed that there are mental powers and energy fields within us that we haven't fully understood yet, pathways that could potentially allow us to communicate beyond words. It's like we're still using basic tools in a world that's capable of so much more.
And that's not all. There are also plenty of spiritual perspectives that see telepathy as more than just a fluke. In many spiritual traditions, telepathy is seen as a natural extension of the soul's ability to connect with others on a deeper level. It's less about neurons and more about the energy that flows between us.
Right? And that's where science and spirituality tend to clash. While science demands proof, spirituality often operates on faith and personal experience. It's like two sides of the same coin, each offering a different way to understand this mysterious phenomenon.
So, whether you lean more towards the science or the spiritual side, one thing's for sure. There's a lot more to telepathy than meets the eye. And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating.
Chapter 3. Telepathy in Everyday Life and Relationships.
Okay, let's bring this topic a little closer to home. Literally. We've all had those moments in our relationships, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even a family member, where it feels like you're so in sync that you almost don't need words. It's like you're on the same wavelength, finishing each other's sentences, or even knowing what the other person is thinking before they say a word. Sound familiar?
Oh yeah, totally. And you know what's funny? People often write that off as just being really close to someone, but what if there's more to it? What if we're actually tapping into a kind of low-key telepathy? I mean, think about those stories you hear about twins who can somehow sense when the other is in trouble, even when they're miles apart. That's more than just a gut feeling. That's something deeper.
Exactly. And it's not just twins. I've read about parents who suddenly get this overwhelming feeling that something's wrong with their child, only to find out later that the child was in danger at that exact moment. It's like their bond is so strong that it crosses the physical distance between them. Call it intuition, call it telepathy, whatever it is, it's powerful.
And don't forget about those moments in romantic relationships. You know, when you and your partner just seem to get each other without saying a word. Some might say that's just because you know each other so well, but maybe there's also a bit of telepathic connection going on there. After all, communication is more than just words. It's emotions, thoughts, vibes.
Totally. And that's what makes telepathy so intriguing. It's not just about reading minds like some sci-fi movie. It's about that deep connection, that unspoken understanding between people who are really close. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder just how connected we all really are, even beyond the usual ways we think of communication.
Yeah, and whether it's a twin bond, a parent-child connection, or the closeness between partners, it makes you think. Maybe we're all capable of a little telepathy, and we just don't realize it. Or maybe we just haven't fully tapped into it yet.
Exactly. So next time you just know what someone close to you is thinking, maybe don't brush it off so quickly. It might just be a glimpse into something much bigger than we realize.
Chapter 4. Possibilities, Risks, and the Future of Telepathy. So we've talked about what telepathy might be, how it could work, and even how it sneaks into our daily lives. But what about the bigger picture? Let's get into the possibilities and, the potential risks of telepathy. Because let's face it, every superpower comes with its own set of challenges, right?
Totally. I mean, imagine if we could all suddenly tap into each other's thoughts whenever we wanted. That's a pretty wild idea. On one hand, it could bring us closer together, helping us understand each other on a whole new level. No more misunderstandings, no more secrets. Just pure, honest communication. Sounds like a dream, right?
Sure it does, until you start thinking about the flip side. Imagine having zero privacy. Every stray thought, every random idea, out in the open for anyone to pick up on. That could get messy real quick. I mean, do we really want everyone to know what's going on in our heads all the time?
Yeah, that could be a total nightmare. And it's not just about privacy either. There's also the question of control. If telepathy were real and widespread, who's to say it couldn't be used for manipulation? Imagine someone being able to influence your thoughts or decisions without you even realizing it. That's a pretty scary thought, right?
Exactly. And that's why some people are skeptical or even afraid of the idea of telepathy. It's not just about the cool stuff, it's also about the ethical and practical implications. But on the flip side, if we could learn to harness telepathy in a responsible way, the potential benefits are huge.
Absolutely. Think about it. It could be a game changer if we could use telepathy to understand each other better, to bridge communication gaps, or even to help in areas like mental health or conflict resolution. But like any powerful tool, it's all about how we choose to use it.
And that brings us to the future. We're only scratching the surface of what's possible. As our understanding of the brain and consciousness grows, who knows what we might discover? Maybe telepathy isn't just a fantasy. Maybe it's a skill we can develop, refine, and use for the greater good.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up today's episode, it's worth thinking about what role telepathy might play in our future. Is it something that could bring us closer together or drive us further apart? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. It's an idea that's not going away anytime soon.
Yep, and who knows? Maybe one day we'll be having these conversations telepathically instead of over a podcast.
Now that would be something. Until then, we'll just keep exploring these mysteries the old-fashioned way, by talking about them. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for joining us on this mind-bending journey.
Absolutely. We loved diving into the mysteries of telepathy with you. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts, maybe telepathically. Until next time on Spirit of Vivo.